Hello everyone, and welcome back to Money Pulsar, where we follow the money to find the real story. Have you ever noticed how some roads seem to last forever, while others start cracking and crumbling just a few years after they're paved? Most of us blame it on bad weather, heavy traffic, or maybe just shoddy workmanship. But what if I told you that's not always the case? Sometimes a road that fails quickly isn't a mistake at all. It's a feature. Think about it. In one city, there's a particular stretch of road that gets a complete overhaul every 3 years. They lay down fresh asphalt, paint bright new lines, and for a little while, it looks perfect. But like clockwork, the cracks and potholes reappear. Residents get frustrated, complaining about wasted tax dollars. But the cycle just repeats. This isn't random. It's a deliberate pattern. Today, we're digging into the surprising reason why some roads are simply not built to last, and how, believe it or not, this recurring problem can actually be a very profitable business model for those in charge. Stick around. You won't look at potholes the same way again. Have you ever driven on a brand new, perfectly smooth road and wondered, how long will this actually last? It's a great question, because every single road is built with a specific lifespan in mind. Engineers have a term for this: design life. Now, this isn't some random guess. It's a detailed calculation. A road might be designed to last for 10 years, 20 years, or even longer. What makes the difference? Well, a road with a longer design life is like a heavyweight champion. It has thicker layers of asphalt or concrete. It's built with stronger, more durable materials, and it sits on a much better, more stable foundation. Think of it as building a house to withstand a hurricane versus building a temporary shed. But here's the twist. Building that heavyweight road costs more money up front. A lot more. And this is where things get complicated for the people in charge. Most governments and city councils operate on yearly budgets. They have to decide how to spend a limited amount of money right now. A massive, long-term project that won't need major repairs for 30 years is fantastic. But the initial price tag can be a tough sell. So, what often happens? A road with a shorter lifespan, say 10 or 15 years, becomes a much more attractive option. The initial cost is lower. It fits more comfortably into the current budget, and the project gets approved. It's a practical decision based on the financial realities of the moment. The problem is that 10-year clock starts ticking the moment the first car drives on it. And before you know it, that smooth new road starts showing its age, and the cycle of repairs begins all over again. It's a constant balancing act between building for tomorrow and paying for today. The next time you hit a pothole, you're not just feeling a bump in the road. You're feeling the result of decisions made years, or even decades, ago. It really makes you think about how we plan and build the world around us. Now, imagine a contractor decides to cut a few corners. Maybe they use slightly lower quality material for the foundation. Not enough to fail an inspection, but just a little bit cheaper. Then they do the same for the middle layer, and again for the surface layer. On the day the road opens, it looks absolutely perfect. You'd never know the difference. But give it a few years. All that traffic creates constant stress. Tiny, invisible gaps let water seep in. With those slightly weaker materials, cracks start to appear way sooner than they should. Those small savings, which might have cut millions from the initial construction cost, have basically guaranteed a future of constant, expensive repairs. The road that looked great on day one ends up costing a fortune over its lifetime. This brings us to a really interesting question. Why are frequent repairs sometimes preferred over building something to last? It really comes down to how budgets work. A road designed to last for 40 years requires a massive, one-time investment. That's a huge chunk of money to spend all at once. On the other hand, a road built to last only 10 years is much cheaper up front. Sure, it will need regular, costly repairs, but those repair costs are spread out over time. They become smaller, more manageable expenses in the annual budget. They don't create the same financial shock as a single, enormous project. Politically, it's often easier to get approval for smaller, recurring repair budgets than it is to justify a massive upfront expenditure for a long-lasting road. It feels less risky financially, even if it ends up being more expensive in the long run. It's a classic case of short-term thinking winning out over long-term investment. It's a frustrating cycle, isn't it? We see this not just with roads, but in so many areas of life. The quick, cheap fix often seems more appealing than the durable, long-term solution. So, who actually benefits when a road falls apart? Let's follow the money. When roads fail regularly, the work never stops. Construction companies stay busy with new contracts. Maintenance crews are always on the clock. The suppliers of asphalt, concrete, and all the other materials. They just keep on selling. It's a continuous cycle of business. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean there's some grand, corrupt conspiracy at play. It's often much simpler than that. It's about a system that rewards repetition over durability. If a company's business model is based on fixing things, there's a built-in incentive for things to break. When the entire system is set up to favor constant repair, then constant repair becomes the normal, expected outcome. It's a business model that thrives on things not lasting. And this isn't just a local problem. You can see this same logic playing out all over the world. Government budgets are almost always short-term, planned year 2 or just a few years out. Politicians, naturally, want to show their voters they're getting things done. What's more visible than a brand new construction project? A ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new road gets a lot more attention and positive press than a quiet report saying a 20-year-old road is still in great shape. The result is a system that optimizes for what is seen, not for what quietly lasts. We celebrate the new and visible, while we ignore the durable and reliable. The incentive is to build something new that gets you re-elected, not to invest in something that will outlast your political career. Have you ever heard the phrase built to fail and thought it means engineers are secretly designing things to break? Well, that's not quite it. It doesn't mean anyone wants failure. What it actually means is that the system is designed to accept failure as a predictable, planned, and even budgeted part of its life cycle. It sounds like a conspiracy, right? Like some engineer in a dark room is cackling while designing a road that will crumble in 6 months. But that's not really what it means. When we say a system is built to fail, it doesn't mean people are actively hoping for things to break. It means the system itself accepts failure as a normal part of its operation. Failure is predicted. It's planned for. It's even budgeted for. So, when you see something that keeps breaking, whether it's a road, a piece of software, or even a household appliance, the most important question isn't who messed up or who made this mistake. The real question to ask is, what does the system reward? In many of our modern systems, from public infrastructure to consumer electronics, long-term durability often loses out to short-term savings. The immediate, upfront cost looks better on a spreadsheet. And when that happens, failure stops being an accident. It becomes a business model. The constant need for repairs, for replacements, for service calls that, creates a steady stream of predictable income for someone. This idea isn't just about roads. It's a lens you can use to look at so many things in our world. It helps explain how everyday systems can quietly, almost invisibly, turn problems into profit. If this video helped you see the world of infrastructure a little differently, make sure to subscribe to MoneyPulsar. Here, we break down the hidden systems that shape our everyday lives. Thanks for watching.